Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. Boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Adrian Broner looks like he is all about finding a way to win. My boy is looking to get back in the ring this year. And that's good. A lot of people have turned their back on Adrian Broner. And you can't help but understand why, But I'm not saying it's right. I don't necessarily agree, but I understand. Adrian Broner has had so many ups and downs, being in hospitals, getting shot at, lawsuits, being drunk in public, relationship problems, struggling in the ring, fans questioning his dedication, and then mental health issues, and just so many other things going on in his personal life, and it's all affected him on a professional level. I still feel that Adrian Broner's problems, I just think the way you grow up, man, has a lot to do with you going through your teen years, and especially as a young adult in your 20s. But at some point, you got to start seeing, you start seeing things a little differently. And when you take some big losses in life, if you have the right people around you, you can look at that and say, this isn't the direction that I want to go. And Adrian Broner, I think he got that wake-up call when he was struggling to get back in the ring. Look, man, Espinosa and those guys, the Showtime and the Leonard Ellerbys and different people who were behind him. I don't think it's because people didn't want to help him out, but they just got tired. It's only so much tomfoolery and blatant ignorance and disrespect a person going to tolerate. And I think with these boxers, I think some of these guys don't realize, if you're signed to Showtime, if you're signed to the Zone, if you're committed to one of these networks to fight, okay, you're representing that brand. And I don't think Broner fully understood that as a young man. I think he understands it now. But at the same time, depending on your promoter that you're signed to, you're representing that brand. And you guys may say, no, that shouldn't matter. Okay, tell Felix Verdejo that. Okay? You go tell him that. Because I didn't realize the way those contracts are written, it specifically protects promoters, depending on the contract, right? But like in particular with Top Rank, there's clauses in the contract that address situations like guys getting mixed up in foolishness, man. So with Adrian Broner, and he was, last couple of years always mixed up in something, and people just kind of created distance, and his tweets and stuff didn't help the situation. But it looks like now, AB is trying to get his stuff together, and I don't know much about his financial situation. I don't think anybody does. The most we know is the little crap we go out there and read, and I'm not here to kick that man while he's down. I'm actually excited about him getting back in the ring. But the thing is this, Adrian Broner, he's like, as far as him finding another opponent, it's kind of like him trying to figure out what weight he's going to fight at. You know what I'm saying? You can't really go and shoot for the stars as far as opponents at 147, because probably going to struggle getting in there with them. And you can't go to the bottom of the barrel because he's too big for that. The payday's not there. And the reason why I'm comparing that to, as far as him looking for an opponent, to his fighting weight, because now you're talking about, you can't really go out there and get busy at 147 weight-wise because maybe that's a little too big for him. It's proven that his knockout power and everything else is suited better at 135, 140. And he can't really go down to 140 because he kills himself to get down there. So he's right there in the sweet spot somewhere as far as weight. So when it comes to his next opponent, he's going to have to find somebody right there and find that sweet spot. And when you think about Adrian Broner coming back for his 39th fight, I think some people forget, okay, well, how can he come back after everything he's gone through? This man has more lives than a damn cat. That's right. AB. It should be AC, another cat, but AB. But, he's won titles in, 4 different weight divisions. And, you got to understand this man's made history. What he's doing now, if he doesn't straighten out, he's undoing the foundation he's laid to find himself in the Boxing Hall of Fame. Because you can undo that. And I think the last few years he's been working, not his intentions, but he's been working towards undoing all the great things he's done in boxing. But to have been champion at 130, 135, 140, 147, there's only a couple of people who've done that. And when you're talking about the names that Broner's name is mixed in with, as far as guys leapfrogging from 130 to 147, you're talking about Mayweather, you're talking about Pacquiao and De La Hoya. That's it. And Broner. So say what you want. Broner did it. You can say he cherry-picked. You can say what you want. He did it. But he needs to come back, find that opponent, that kind of sweet spot opponent. Now, you look at him coming back and trying to get in there with a killer like Spence, trying to get in there and bang with an Ennis, trying to get in there and bang with Thurman, even Conor Benn and Virgil Ortiz, right? All that sounds good. The Crawfords, all that sounds good. Danny Garcia, all that sounds good. But realistically, Broner, he can't handle those fights right now. Broner needs to come back and get a really good win. Because those names I just listed, those aren't sweet spot opponents. Those are the guys right there, man, at the top of the division, killers. Broner doesn't want that. And you look at his last couple of fights, even when he did come back and fight, he didn't look that great. Okay, he's not quite a shell of himself, and he's not as good as Keith Thurman is. Because Keith Thurman's not the same either, but Keith Thurman still has a lot more spunk in him. Broner is kind of in between being a shell of himself and where Keith Thurman is right now. And it's all on him to find a way to win. So we're talking about opponents. You got Ivan Redkach, Jesse Vargas. And then the one person who I think is the best opponent for him to come back against right now, and I think it would be very exciting, is Blair, the Flair, Cobb. How about that? Adrian Broner against Blair, the Flair. Who would you pick in that fight? See, that's the question. Because you can't sleep on Blair the Flair. Blair the Flair will come in there and probably get the biggest win of his career if Adrian Broner doesn't let his hands go. And I'm sure, this has been talked about before. That Adrian Broner, before Maidana, that guy's gone. Everybody needs to forget about him. That AB is gone. AB has fought a list of top names, man. You got to give him credit. Adrian Broner, he hasn't taken an easy path in boxing. But I just think he got thrown in there with that killer Maidana. And Maidana rattled his cage, man. And, I would never consider or compare myself to any of these guys fighting professionally, right? But I do know what it's like to hit somebody really hard when you're boxing. And and stand them up because I've done that. But I've also been hit pretty hard where you're like, I don't want to get hit with that again. And for like the next like 2 weeks, my jaw, whenever I would talk, it'd be like a clicking, like right in here, like clicking. And I was like, damn, I thought I rolled with a punch, but the guy caught me. But I knew he hit hard. And I remember that. And going into sparring, when he and I would spar, I used to think twice. Like, okay, I was extra cautious. Now, when I had my opportunity, I let my hands go, but I made sure when I went in there that I was paying attention. P's and Q's, T's crossed, I's dotted. You know what I'm saying? And I think with Adrian Broner, the way he realized he can get hurt. Now, I've never been hurt like that, but I know what it's like to get hit hard, and it's like, shit. You know what I'm saying? But to see Adrian Broner get hurt like that, I think that just killed some of his confidence, because after that, he was afraid to let his hands go. He was already defensive in nature, but his offense kind of fed off of his defense. And you look at what happened to him with all of his fights, even with Jesse Vargas, man, and Granados, and we ain't talking about Pacquiao. That's like an extreme situation where he didn't let his hands go. And Mikey Garcia, but Broner to me shouldn't have lost any of those fights, because that's how talented he was, man. But he just didn't let his hands go enough. And I get it. He gets frustrated when people are asking him questions about letting his hands go. And he'll rip into reporters and say, hey, man, you've never boxed, but you're sitting here judging me and saying all these things about me, but you've never been in the ring, so I don't even feel that you deserve me to respond. And I understand what Adrian Broner is saying about that, but the truth is, when you timetable it, after the McDonough fight, it was just a totally different Adrian Broner that we saw in the ring. But now with everything that has happened in his personal life, man, meeting walls in his professional life. Barry is there. He got to figure out how to get around him because people don't want to deal with him. But now it looks like he's going to get an opportunity. Let's hope that he does the right thing and he and Blair the Flair get it on, because Blair the Flair just came off of a pretty bad knockout. He got his ass beat by De La Rocha, whatever his name is. De La Rocha to me is a damn today's Manuel Marquez. That's how he reminds me of when he fights. He's a problem with that left hand. And Blair the Flair was a sitting duck for it. But I think the perfect comeback fight for Blair the Flair, the sweet spot opponent is him. And for Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner should be able to get in there, make it interesting. He should be able to win this fight. If he doesn't win this fight, it's over for Adrian Broner. Now, Blair the Flair can hit. He can crack. He can fight. He's athletic. But Adrian Broner shouldn't struggle that much with him. But, you got to give Blair the Flair a chance because he can fight. But I think that's the perfect opponent. I don't think he should fight Ivan Redkach because Ivan Redkach can fight. What Regis Prograis did to Redkach, not everybody's doing that to him. But Regis Prograis is a fight Adrian Broner should stay away from. He needs to stay away from any killer. He needs to stay away from him. He just don't do it. Don't let your pride. Hopefully he doesn't let his pride and ego get in the way, and he goes and he missteps and he gets hurt in that ring. Come back, take 1 or 2 fights, look good, and then he's back in position. And then AB the can man, anybody can get it. He can start talking all that again because people are quick to. Just the way in boxing, people are quick to step away from you and say a bunch of negative things about you and clown you. That's the same way they can kind of come back and congregate and support you. And I think they'll converge on him in a positive way if he can string together, I'd say two good wins. And then it's on after that. People want this guy to win, but he's had a few years out the ring, a few years of inactivity. He's not getting any younger. You see the videos of him running around here drunk and can't walk. So the alcohol, the wear and tear on his body, the stress and stuff going on. So mentally he's dealing with that. He got to do something now because it's going to be too late at another couple of years, man. I think he's in mid-30s now. He's got to do something. So, especially because he escaped that last year All that stuff going on in Adrian Broner's life, personal life. That man lucky to be here. That man is lucky to be here. And hopefully he seizes the opportunity he has in front of him, does the right thing. You know, man, enjoy yourself. You want to take a drink, you want to go out there and party, but in moderation, man. And that's what I hate seeing with these young guys, man. You know, in moderation. No one's telling you not to do it. But if you're an athlete, you should want to live a healthy lifestyle. But if you're going to do it, in moderation. But when you do it in abundance, copious amounts, don't expect your reward to be very great, because your effort to remain disciplined and do the right thing is very low. And that's just one-on-one stuff, man. So rooting for him. Blair the Flair needs a good comeback fight, a good name. Because Blair the Flair he's a well-known name. He's not, you know, a Spence. He's not a Crawford, you know, but he's pretty well known in the boxing world. He's done a lot of sparring, a lot of different people. He's there with De La Hoya. Got a little bit of the machine behind him that you look for. You know, he can box, got a little power, not a killer. Got a big mouth, will help sell the fight. That's what Broner needs. So hopefully they can make that fight. I'll definitely be tuning in. So that's my 2 cents on Broner. Man escaped last year. He's here. Rooting for him to see what he does. The one thing about Broner, well, a lot of people say negative things, because that's just in most people's nature. And, you know, it is what it is. Broner is himself. So whether you like him or not, the one thing about Broner, what you see is what you get. You're not going to be dealing with this guy for 3 months, a year, being friends, and find out this guy is shady, a snake, can't be trusted, is a piece of shit. He's not like that. What you see is what you get. You love him or hate him, and I like that. I don't quite agree with how he speaks all the time, but at least he's himself, and I respect that. But that being said, Broner and this guy, Blair the Flair, make that fight right now. That's the fight we want to see, and I think if they make that fight, you know, people will be talking. People, you know, will start to get excited about the comeback, because he's going in there against a name that we know, and we know that the guy he's going there can fight. Some of these other people that Broner went up against, you know, their records were good. They were good fighters, but no one knew him, and he struggled. Actually lost, in my opinion, but it is what it is as far as the decision. But Broner, I think this is his last run. If he doesn't get it right this time, I think it's over for him, man. I think he's officially a gatekeeper right now. But this is his last chance to make those corrections, get back on path to being in the Hall of Fame, get back on path to the paydays, get back on path to being the AB, you know, the walking acronym, or walking abbreviation. He's some of both. But super talented, blessed that way, kind of throwing it all away. Hopefully he'll get himself together. That being said, like and subscribe. Shout out to all the veterans. I appreciate the support. Make the fight now. Blair Cobb, Adrian Broner. That's what we want to see. Y'all keep cool. As always, I'm in the breeze.